Welcome back to the Greenhorn Photo Taker for the story of my 2024 New England road trip, a 1,200-mile journey with my youngest daughter, just weeks before she leaves my wife and I empty nesters as she embarks upon her own journey as a college freshman. I won't claim dry eyes the entire trip, but I will claim no one but me noticed any moisture in the car in the quiet moments between destinations. Luckily for those of you watching, this story is not about the erratic motions of a father seeing his last child grow up. Rather, it is about the erratic coastlines and vast interior wilderness of Maine. Some of the iconic heights of both the White and Green Mountains. How I saw my first moose. How we almost got stuck in a cave. And why the unplanned destinations often make the finest memories. Our story begins just south of Portland in Two Lights State Park and Cape Elizabeth. In hindsight, this was likely more of a local day trip destination rather than a site for out-of-towners to flock to, but it offered a great taste of what was in store for us over the next few days. Rocky, forbidding coastlines with crashing waves, and blue skies as far as the eye could see. We explored at our leisure and spent an evening in Portland, eating one of many really great meals. We explored the old port section and took in a great sunset at Portland Headlight. Also home to a beautiful municipal park, the lighthouse itself is over 230 years old. And now home to one of my fondest memories of the trip. Enjoying the sun's rays slowly turning to shadow on the tower. There were dozens of other witnesses, but the grounds are large, and the patrons are quiet for the most part, so we didn't really feel crowded, and we could just enjoy the moment. And while we're still describing the Portland area, one of our favorite towns of the trip, I think it would be a good time to explain our daily trip routine. The night before each destination, we'd agree on a time for breakfast. Emily would sleep until the very last possible moment, and I would always get up early and explore the town while it was still very quiet. Portland, Bar Harbor, Stowe, and even Schenectady were my favorites to explore, each offering a different take on what it's like to live there. Bar Harbor and Stowe, for instance, catered to the tourist. Though at 7 a.m. or sometimes earlier, there were glimpses of locals who I always thought were trying to get a quick moment of peace and solitude before the crowds picked up. Portland was a mix between hotel stayers and locals, while Schenectady and Rangelely seemingly had few vacationers, but also had charm in their own way. Only North Conway felt like a tourist trap, mainly due to the number of restaurants, hotels, and ice cream shops that lined both sides of the street. It is no surprise our favorite was the 5,000-person town of Bar Harbor on Mount Desert Island. The main launching off point for Acadia National Park, Bar Harbor does the small shop and restaurant thing much better than most other towns. Whether it is the walkable distance of the commercial district or their old-style buildings, it has a charm that places like North Conway simply can't match. And in our one sunset there, Agamont Park was stunning. The sun, burning through the fog, made for picturesque moment after picturesque moment. I was so happy with the silhouetted couple in front of the sun, I chased them down afterwards for their email address. During each day, I would do most, but not all of the driving, and Emily would handle the music. An excellent combined playlist, and then scope out our next meal. She was 18 for 18 with above average restaurants, and most were well above average. We ate well, and I learned to TikTok. The first and only national park on our destination list was Acadia National Park. We missed the lottery for the famous Cadillac Mountain sunrise, though I was lucky enough to see it in 2016, but we still enjoyed a full day in the park. The mountain with midday sun was still a treat, offering unique views that I think are actually underrated when compared to the parks out west. We took our time exploring this unique vista and one-of-a-kind granite surface with those wonderful Mount Desert Narrow Islands dotting the bay below. We walked the ocean path, taking in the iconic Maine coastline. Including the wonderful Thunder Hole. That was a good one. Looking at the rock-strewn coast, the rolling fog, and the evergreens just back from the shoreline will never get old to me. I do think, however, that Jordan Pond, even in this harsh sunlight, was the best view of Acadia, and a place I will return to one day in autumn. Elsewhere on the coast, we explored the Giant Stairs Trail, a surprisingly beautiful off-the-beaten-path destination in Harpswell. And later took the 1.6-mile out-and-back walk to Rockland Breakwater Light. The entire trail is a series of granite boulders mined from a local quarry in the late 1800s, and it extends very far into the Penobscot Bay. At the end sits the 120-year-old lighthouse. Pretty darn cool. The surface of the breakwater is about 40 feet wide, while the base underwater is approximated at over 175 feet. Remarkable. And here we end part one. Coastal Maine is frankly awesome. From the fresh lobster, accessible in every darn town, to the perfect 75-degree summer weather despite the heat wave just inland, to the foggy sunsets of Bar Harbor, we had a blast. and commented to each other how very different this trip felt compared to our last two, which happened to be in California. The easiest answer for the difference was the lack of air travel, or perhaps the ease of taking your own familiar car on the journey, and that was part of it for sure. But more deeply, I think this trip was simply safer. No vast deserts to cross with 110 or even 125-degree heat, no situations where we had no forms of pavement, no cabins in bare country. Simply put, the constant undercurrent of worry of past trips led to a feeling of both excitement and accomplishment, and that was lacking here. We still had loads of fun, of course. It was just different. This trip, more relaxed, more time to ourselves, and more time to just enjoy the scenery. Here are my favorite photos on the first leg of our trip. Thanks for watching. Get out and explore.